And blessed love and peace. Can it be another rendering in this world? The actual lyrics are the most beautiful. Could you be the most beautiful thing in this world? That's Prince. At least that's what it's going for. But trying to apply it, adapt it to the current situation, circumstances and situation, which is just could this be another occasion of doing this joint again? Just a minute ago, after doing it. Yes, briefly, what I share. Oh, now we're on drip drop of the storage, or not the storage, the battery. So this is very brief. Two things. Again, expensive. Haha, English language. Very expensive. What we require is land. Kutuhusen, and Kutuhout. That's Dansk. Mélanger, mixed heritage, cultural houses, and cultural havens, cultural villages of residence, school, and economic ventures, ethics-based economic ventures. Land. That is what we require. These joints are expensive. So that being said, and also like we're starting to get into this like whole like that restaurant buffet kind of thing, or not the restaurant buffet kind of thing, just like that restaurant on your honor check at the end of the meal kind of thing of like, yo, this is a lot of order. This is a large order. Like all these posts, that's accumulating. Like at first we share like, okay, on one's honor, they're gonna follow through and pay the bill. Then there's this concern of like, wait, hold up, is this a dine and ditch kind of situation? Are we posting all this content and cats are not actually gonna follow through on the other side? Ultimately, trust in the Most High. There's some reason why this is happening. So here it is. That's one thing. The second thing is, as I mentioned before, further emphasis, and we got to work on this. This is something that's comparatively new, and it requires a lot of discipline that is different from what I am personally accustomed to. And so it's serious effort, but it's serious occasion and requirement, and it's this: focusing on relationships that are either devoted within the discipline that we share, no citizenship, no ownership, Pontius Silas, or transactional only, meaning here and there when we have some business immediately exchange and that's it. No long-term commitments, no ongoing arrangements, no like undue trust or dependency or other types of like agreements ongoing with people who don't practice no citizenship, no ownership, and Pontius Silas. So that is what we are focusing on. That's what we are concentrating on. With all due respect and all love and peace to all kinfolk, this is where we're at. Now, what we recognize, and as it pertains to these joints right here, is guess what? Okay, fewer people are on the no citizen, no ownership, Pontius Silas tip. Fine. Now on the transactional thing, okay, we can barter, we can exchange products, services here and there without a long-term contract, without like ongoing dependence or obligation or otherwise. But guess what that involves? That involves particularly services. We can purchase something up front. We can arrange for that exchange in addition. But the service itself is depending upon somebody else on an ongoing basis. And that is antithetical to this protocol, to this direction, to this guidance. Oh, that alfalfa. That alfalfa is just on fleek. The alfalfa is on fleek. Is that what it is? Fleet, whatever. Fleece, flex. Even a service, like getting a mobile phone. and paying for it for a year. So not have to worry about a bill or like it being turned off for the year or whatever, but still relying upon others who aren't practicing the same discipline to provide the service and making plans and additionally accordingly. That is outside of the directive, outside of the guidance. So the guidance is actually not utilizing that, or at least not depending on utilizing that on a regular basis. And it becomes nuanced, and that's something we have to work on in terms of the application and how it actually plays out, how it actually manifests. But that is involved in what we're talking about and what we're doing. That's one example. Another example is Wi-Fi service. Same thing. All these services that are monthly, that we're just accustomed to as being automatic, that's part of the point and that's part of the nature. To recognize that they're not automatic, to recognize how much we depend upon it for basic things like communication and relationship, and how that influences our communication and relationship in ways that we immediately recognize and in ways that we have yet to recognize. So this is some of the planning that we are preparing at the moment. Zoom calls is another example. Zoom service. Even anything on the internet. Things being like servers posting these things on YouTube. The presumption of YouTube providing that service as it does for going on 20 years, basically. That presumption, that expectation, that reliance, that dependency of having that available as a reference to people, and additionally, YouTube, who isn't doing things that are non-citizenship, not non-ownership, Panchasilas. How much kinfolk are dependent, even on these joints, for such services, even when not paying for it, presuming it as a given, and in presuming it as a given, relying upon that service so heavily, and in that reliance, providing those agencies with so much cred, with so much authority, with so much influence and power and pervasiveness. That's part of the discipline of weaning ourselves away from the things that we disagree with and finding increasingly honest and healthy solutions. It ain't easy. It ain't all overnight. We have to prioritize. So, transactional relationship particularly pertains to things that are standard already in that respect, in terms of going to the store, buying groceries, and additionally. That's one example. But if we're not ownership, how do we have money? Their methodologies. And non-ownership doesn't necessarily mean not having money per se. It means not having a bank account according to these protocols. It doesn't exclude the utilization of money per se. We have to live. If there's, the point is not to be just like perfect, and the point is not to be just like, oh, look at us, we're so pious. It's a matter of recognizing principles, truth, and how to genuinely practice and adhere to those principles in a way that is applied to today. One of those principles is our own well-being. Another of those principles is being in relationship with each other, marriage, and having children, and providing for children. So we have to do things in an ethical way and further, but at the same time, we also have to answer our pragmatic needs. So we have to find how we translate these fundamental, primordial principles into our today experience. And there might be adjustments, there might be lessons learned, and otherwise. There will be. That necessarily is. But it's just a matter of being honest in that process, having flexibility, not making promises at all, to be honest, And whenever we do communicate our intentionalities, to be as forthright and diligent in fulfilling those intentionalities and being able to explain and provide accordingly when abstaining from following through with those intentionalities as it is communicated. So anyways, that is part of what we share at this moment. Transactional relationship, particularly what we're talking about today was the how it pertains to current arrangements, our standard way of living at the moment, particularly as it pertains to online communication and the services, the monthly services, the yearly services, the presumed free of charge services, even just storing things on servers and presuming that to be done from people who are not practicing no citizenship, no ownership, and Panchasilas. That's how severe that discipline is, how austere and significant it is. It provides tremendous value and benefit, insight, wisdom about how to negotiate and deal with the powers that be and the predatoriness and everything else. But at the same time, for these insights and wisdom to have such potency, it requires genuineness within the practice. So, that is what we articulate here. And in mindfulness, again, we're working on the details of the solution, and the point isn't to be authoritarian and perfect and like rigid, but it is to be genuine and honest. So that's it. I woke up the sparrows who decided to plunge into the air anyways. All thanks and praise to the Most High Elohim. Blessed love and peace in Rastafari.